When you start sewing a zigzag stitch or a straight stitch, what do? Do you just have at it and just start going? No, don't do that. If you do that, you are going to have a very bad time. I'm SD, and your new seam, it's probably gonna end up unraveling on you, but don't worry. We'll stop that from happening. And I also want to share a story about the worst time of my entire life, and I think it's about that time, so yeah, I'm gonna tell you about that too. Now, when you start and you end, you need to make what is called a back stitch, and my machine's got a button for a back stitch. Your machine probably does too, but if it doesn't, don't worry, there's an easy way around it. We'll get to that, keep watching. Now, my sewing machine is a Necchi FA 16, and I got it for free. It was my mother's sewing machine. She passed away, and it's kind of crazy in a lot of ways. If you've been a subscriber or you've been circling around and kind of binge watching a lot of my content, you were there when it happened. When you start sewing your seam, go forward by about 5 stitches and then stop. Press and hold down your back stitch lever or your button, and what that's gonna do is that's going to reverse the direction that your machine sews in. And then you wanna go backwards by about 3 to 4 stitches. Now, go forward again, just keep going and just make your seam. I feel like if I don't talk about it, you'll get that text saying like, hey JK, just want to see if you guys still cared. And then once you get to the end, do the exact same thing. Go to the very edge, hold down your back stitch lever, and then back it up a little bit. And then go forward and boom, done. I remember when it happened, you get that phone call, and if this has happened to you before, or if you know anybody that it's happened to, I think we can all agree on the fact that you split up into 2 different people. There was the person that you were before it happened, and then there's the person that you become after it happens. In dealing with grief and moving on and accepting it, it's not about trying your best to go back to being the person you were before. It's kind of about just slowly just getting used to being that new person that you are. And it really sucks. It's not a fun club to be in at all. Hey SD, my machine, it doesn't have a lever or a button to make a back stitch, so what do I do? Don't worry. What you can do instead is you can go forward a couple of stitches and then stop your machine with your needle down through your garment. Push your presser foot up and then rotate your garment 180 degrees. Sew a few more stitches forward, about 3, 4, maybe 5, and then again, stop with the needle all the way down through your garment. If you would have told me that I would be on YouTube making sewing machine tutorials with my mother's sewing machine, I would have called you crazy. She would have got really mad because she used to get really upset when I would go over there and I would take her sewing machine, and then I would get a text later on saying, hey, where's my sewing machine? And I'd be like, I have to tailor one of my work shirts. I'll bring it back later. I wouldn't bring it back. And that was one of the first things that I saw when I went over there the following day after I got the news. Was it was sitting on the kitchen table, and I didn't really want to take it or use it ever again, just because it's like everything. It had so much energy and it just had so much everything behind it. And it's crazy because it changed my life in so many ways. That sewing machine changed my life in so many ways. I will never use another sewing machine ever again for that reason, just because it was my mom's. And a lot of this, almost all of this actually, was a coping mechanism, because when I go buy a shirt and I take it home to go and tailor it, nothing else matters. Nothing matters. My sewing machine doesn't ask me questions. It doesn't, wonder what it is that I'm doing or how I'm feeling. Its only job is to just sew in a straight line, and it's wonderful. It doesn't ask if I'm grieving. It doesn't ask if I'm over it. Doesn't do any of that. So that's why this is a big thing for me. That's why I really just kind of did this overhaul of my channel of just really focusing on these because they saved me. And there's one video, I'll end it with this. There's one video that's still on my channel. It's a video on things that most people regret in their 20s. And the very last thing in that video that I said was not developing and not forging and not strengthening that relationship with my mom. And 5 days later, she passed away. And I can't get rid of that video. I might put it in the description if you want to go watch it. If it's not there, it's because I didn't want to put it in there. So let me know down in the comments, if this happened to you, what'd you do? And then turn it back 180 degrees so that it is in the exact same position that it was to begin with. You just made a manual back stitch, no lever necessary. Man, I really wish everything in life was that easy. Why is your iPad so loud? That's all I got for you. SD out, deuces!